It's now time for CAPI, the Real Paranormal Podcast, with host Johnny Rushing, the founder and lead investigator of Central Alabama Paranormal Investigations. We now take you to the studio for today's show. Here is Johnny Rushing.
Welcome aboard to another CAPI Real Paranormal. John, how are you?
I'm doing well, Johnny. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, John. How are you doing? Oh, we could do this all day.
Yeah, no, seriously. There's more important people that we need to introduce.
Right. Who do we have in the studio with us today?
We've got Beth, our case manager, and Tom, our equipment manager.
Hello.
And the crowd goes crazy.
Right.
And we also have our co-founder.
Really? Where is he?
The boss.
I don't know. Where is he at? I haven't seen him in a while.
That's him right there. Corey, what's up?
Oh, hey. Hi. Hello.
Also known as the voice.
The voice.
The voice.
When he come in, when he first said that, we was saying, I don't know, I haven't seen him in a while. It was real monotonous, wasn't it? It was like,
Yeah.
I looked for
Ominous.
Alfred Hitchcock somewhere when he said that.
Right, exactly.
Ominous, not monotonous.
I'm serious. If y'all find him, let me know.
I
I've been
will.
looking for him
I
for
think
a
he
while.
owes you money, doesn't he?
Yeah, probably at this point.
Exactly.
Hey, Corey, you weren't on our first episode, so why don't you tell us what got you involved in the paranormal?
My weird dad.
Well, fair enough.
And I think he owes me money, so if you see him, let me know.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I mean, I always had, like, ever since I was a kid, I always liked horror movies and stuff. I remember the first horror movie I watched was Cujo, about the dog that has, like, rabies and pretty much torments the family, that the mother and the daughter that gets trapped in the car. It's one of the Stephen King movies. That was the first rated R movie I was able to watch that Dad let me watch. And after that, it was all just downhill. I got into like Child's Play and Halloween and Friday the 13th and all that. And then later on, Dad got into started doing investigations that I knew about, because I know he was doing investigations way before me. But I'm not really sure what put it on my radar. I don't remember, that was so long ago. But I remember my first investigation was at the Vaughn Hospital, and I had told a couple of friends about Dad being into it, and just kind of wasn't sure how people were going to take it. So at first I thought it was kind of weird and like I was going to get made fun of or something in school.
Right.
But I went and we did the investigation at Vaughn Hospital, and what happened there just kind of gripped me and pulled me in, and I just had to know more, and just been in it ever since.
Been going strong ever since.
Yeah.
And you know, something I've always liked about Corey is no matter the deepest, darkest basement or creepiest crawl through or whatever I could put him in, he would always go, unless.
Yeah, except for
there was
those
a
places
spider.
normally have spiders. Yeah.
He'll look a demon in the face, but a Grenade Longlegs will have him running.
I don't think I've ever looked a demon in the face, thankfully, but yeah, Granddaddy Longlegs definitely. Well, no, they don't. See, that's what's weird. Granddaddy Longlegs don't bother me, but literally every other spider in existence does.
Well, they're like the Prius of spiders, so they don't really.
The Prius.
Yeah, they're not really intimidating.
They're not even spiders.
Right. Well, also, I'm so glad we finally got Corey on, because he helped found this team. He helped start this whole thing way back in 2005. 2005, John, not 2015.
Look,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
I
not
tried
sure
my
what that
best.
was about.
Come on.
And way
I don't
back in
know why
2000.
John made that mistake.
I know.
I know, right?
Just terrible,
Yeah.
but
It's terrible.
That's a good co-host when you can blame stuff on him.
Beth and I were
you
sitting
got it
there and we were
right,
going, and we were thinking, like, that's not right. That can't be right.
Right.
It has to be later than that. You know, a lot
John
further
was-
back.
Well, yeah, you
very,
guys were
very
already
wrong.
on here in 2015.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Around that time, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm old. That's all.
Well,
it
yeah,
is.
we all are.
Yeah, and everybody was teling me how great the
Speak
show
for
went and
yourself.
everything, and then Corey comes. I
Hear
talked to
Corey, hear him in the background go, speak for yourself.
Yeah, right. Right. Everybody was saying how great the show went, and it was like, oh man, it was so awesome and everything. And I'm just looking forward to Corey's praise from it, because I look at him for approval on a lot of stuff, CAPI, because he's been in this team as long as I have, because we started it together.
Exactly.
Even though he's my son, I still look for his approval. And yeah, the first thing he says, hey, that was good, Dad, but we started in 2005, not 2015. I was like, oh yeah, I did say that.
It's only 10 years. You only missed it by 10
yeah,
years.
10 years. What on
There was a
earth?
lot of things that happened for Cappy within a decade that he tried to skip forward.
Maybe I was thinking about some of the badder parts I didn't want to think about. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm so glad to have him on here tonight. I'm so looking forward to tonight's show, because we are going to talk about what sets CAPI apart from all the other teams. I think that's a very important topic, because it tells you why we want to do the real paranormal, why we want to put that out there and show people what the real paranormal is, and what sets us apart from other things. And I think I want to talk a little bit about what works and what don't work too, a little bit, because we've been talking about equipment so much. But what sets us apart, and how fitting to have Corey here tonight to key in on that as well, because like I said, CAPI is in existence because of myself and Corey. And now it's gone to what it is because of you guys, because of what y'all have contributed to it and have sacrificed and worked very hard. Especially, I look at Beth when I say worked very hard.
We thoroughly enjoy it too.
I mean, it's hard not to look at Beth. I mean, she's just gorgeous.
Oh, you're so sweet.
She has such perfect hair.
Amen.
Oh, her hair is beautiful.
Hey, John, be careful. He's sitting right across from you.
Yeah, I mean, literally right next to
right
him.
next to
literally.
him. Yeah, within arm's reach. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not dumb enough to hit him.
Speaking of Beth looking good, I like to let everybody know how they can look good too. And the best way to look good is to find yourself a great stylist.
It has to be Michelle. There is nobody else, right?
Absolutely. We're talking about Michelle's Salon there in Montgomery, Alabama. I want you guys to know that anytime Michelle gets a new client, when someone comes over, there's been instances where, and Beth, you'll contest to this, once you find someone that does your hair correctly,
You stick with them.
and I'm not being sexist either. I'm talking to people that have hair, because I don't have hair. I can't
right,
relate.
exactly.
Yeah, so I'm having to talk to people that have hair, like Beth and Tom have beautiful hair. So really, when you find someone that knows what they're doing and they do it the way you want them to,
Right.
you stick with them.
You do.
Yeah, there's the same lady does our hair, for 20 years.
And, yeah,
now. So
20
it's-
years.
yeah.
There you go. Exactly. That's what
Exactly.
I'm saying. And what happens is sometimes your stylist is not available.
Right.
And there's been instances where Michelle has gotten new people come in because their stylist was not available, or they retired or whatever. And once someone comes and tries her, they become a new client.
Exactly. Right.
And she's been doing it for about 20 years and does an extremely good job at it. I'm super proud, but she's also sponsoring tonight's show, so I want y'all to go and check her out. So definitely get down as soon as you can to 6754 Taylor Circle, Montgomery, Alabama. 6754 Taylor Circle, Montgomery, Alabama. And definitely patronize her. And if you want to set an appointment, all you have to do is call 334-306-0670. That's 334-306-0670. All right. So, Corey, I want you to start this off because you understand probably a little more than I do what does set CAPI apart. And I say that because I'm not hip or up to a lot of the paranormal teams and shows and stuff like that, because I don't really watch it that much. But what would you say is the biggest thing that sets CAPI apart?
We have Beth.
Awesome.
Boom.
That is
Awesome.
awesome.
Boom.
Corey, you rock.
Yeah,
Thank
bud,
you.
you rock.
That's it.
Other than
over.
that, I think that's our number one thing. But other than that, I mean, there's a lot, right? I mean, we look at equipment that we use. So we don't just follow the trend of what's the new most popular, ghost hunting equipment. I say that with air quotes because, we could point to something like the EMF meter or K2 that's used outside of ghost hunting, right? But
Right.
the biggest thing right now, which we talked about on the CAPI Live YouTube show that we do every Sunday last night, was the spirit box is something we don't use because there's just too many flaws with it, right?
Right.
So I think the equipment that we use is a big thing. We only use equipment that we know is tried and true, and we can debunk if we need to. And there's not too many, like with a spirit box, there could be a million different things that voice could have been coming from, right? So
Right.
I think that's a huge thing. And then also I think the family feeling of it all, and I don't mean just in the team. I think whenever we go onto an investigation, it doesn't feel as official, right? It feels more like we try and at least make it feel like we're friends or family and coming over to help you and make it personal, not as this business that's coming over to try and just help, gain something for us. We're honestly there to help you or put your mind at ease and show you that, hey, your house probably isn't haunted. You probably just have a draft or, squeaky floorboards or something like that.
One of the things
Whereas
I love most about the team. Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
I do too.
Yeah, I do too.
And
I
to,
do
to,
too.
to finish
The
it off,
family
the
feel.
biggest thing that I'd want to say is the fact that a lot of these teams nowadays are very about that what's the word I'm looking for? The fear factor of it, that
Right.
shock and awe.
Right.
A lot of these YouTube videos you'll see on YouTube now will be or even TikTok will be like demons. Everybody's quick to jump to demons, and 99.99% of the time it's never that. And I think that we try and calm it down instead of trying to hype it up and try and get back into your residence or something like that. We want to be a one and done type thing.
Right, exactly. Because at the end of the day, we want the evidence. I mean, that's what we're passionate about. That's why we do it. But to us, it's not about the evidence. That's the greatest thing. We want the evidence for education and for research, and because we love to hear it and see it and feel it and experience it. But it's that feeling you get when you go in and help someone.
Right.
You know, I mean, the case that we had in Plantersville.
Yes.
We can't say a name.
Right.
Corey, you remember this one. And we helped that lady connect to her son that had passed away.
And that was, we talked about this before.
Oh, my gosh.
And that was one of the best experiences that I've had.
We cried.
Was to watch
that. It was so amazing. I mean, just that feeling of what we did, you know, and that we were able to do that.
Yes.
And to help her out like that.
She was very, very thankful.
There's also the other side of that, right? Like where we went in and it wasn't paranormal and we still put their mind at ease. Remember the in Prattville, the investigation with the alarm clock.
Gosh, yes.
She was having migraines and couldn't sleep.
We helped her physically and mentally. That was go ahead and talk about that, Corey. Talk about that case so they'll know what you're talking about.
It was a if I remember correctly, it was a little townhouse, if I'm not mistaken, like a little 2-story townhouse, or if it was a home. This was so long ago. It wasn't that big, but anyways, whatever. On the second floor, they were one person in particular was having a lot of experiences. She was hallucinating. She couldn't sleep, constant migraines, hearing voices, which I guess that goes along with hallucinations, but just a bunch of big mental stuff going on. Her mood swings was really bad. And she said something, I don't remember exactly, that alluded to it was worse at night when she was trying to sleep.
Right. And
throughout the course of the investigation, one of the things that we do is with the K2 meter, we'll go around outlets or computers or alarm clocks or just any type of appliance or electronical device at all to see if it's giving off high EMF readings. And we're doing that. And I go to her alarm clock that's beside her bed, literally right where she lays her bed, not even a foot away from her is her alarm clock on her bedside table. And that thing spiked immediately. It hit red instantly. Like as soon as I even got, I'd say like a foot away from it, it was spiking. And so that immediately alerted us because nothing else in there was doing that. We didn't get any evidence from the investigation at all. The only thing we got was that alarm clock. And so we asked her to replace that alarm clock. And when she did, she came back to us, I'd say like a week later or so, and said that she wasn't having or a couple of weeks later, said she wasn't having any issues anymore at all. And that all of it stopped and she was sleeping better.
Yeah, we actually ran into that again. Maybe about a year and a half ago in a place, and it was a gentleman, and Johnny actually found it. He came across it. It was the place that was he had an alarm clock and a clock radio type deal right next to his bed, and he was having really bad dreams and stuff. And Johnny's actually the one that found the power being so high right there, and convinced him to move that, and I believe that ended up helping him as well.
Right. Yeah, and that's what he was saying.
Yeah, it was. I forget now what part of the state that was in, but I know it was. It's like about a year and a half ago.
Right.
It was,
and it's been
I can't think of it now. It just hit me, and then it went away. I apologize.
Yeah, there's been several instances where we've gone in and seen that it was an EMF problem instead of an entity problem.
Right.
And people often ask us,
the house in Mobile that was going to burn down.
No, Muscle Shoals.
Muscle Shoals. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. I should talk about that. I should tell that story. That was an awesome experience. We were actually called in from another team. By another team. Once the reports that team got, that was the activity that was going on there, they said they wasn't quite sure they could handle it. So they contacted us and said, hey, will you come in and help us out on this one? And we said, absolutely. So we go and we investigate it. Some of the reports were the mother was actually pushed down a flight of stairs into a basement. Now, this family was that family that wanted all the kids on the block to play at their house, so they turned their basement into a huge playroom for their kids. It was video games, pool tables, foosball, just everything you can think of, computers.
Right.
Just everything you can think of was in there. And that's what happened. All the kids would come over there and play. Well, they started experiencing a lot of stuff there. They started experiencing like a mom getting pushed down the stairs, because there was also a washer and dryer down there, and there was a wood shop for the dad. And she's carrying a load of laundry downstairs and gets pushed.
Wow.
And a couple of them had gotten scratches, and they had seen full body apparitions, and the electronics wouldn't work right sometimes. They were getting tummy aches, headaches, nausea. It was just really bad. And so we go in, and I don't remember if it was who exactly it was, if it was me or Mike or whoever, but we had coming down those stairs, we had an EMF detector with us. Normal, now there's a lot of electronics in this room. We could probably bring an EMF detector in here and probably hit about 2.5 milliglosses with that. It usually runs normally from 0.5 to 2.5 milliglosses. Coming down those stairs, it was pegging out at 22 milliglosses.
Wow.
22.0. So you can imagine that's pretty above normal.
Right, yeah.
Big time. So the head of that team that called us in came to me and said, hey, or he came to me, I told him, I said, hey, there's a lot of milliglosses on this EMFs over here. I said, I think that might be what's going on. And he said, okay. He said, I'll talk to the client. And so he goes talk to the client. Well, the client became very upset, extremely upset at us. They thought that we were calling them crazy, because here we are. They knew what was going on in their house, but here we come in and do this investigation, and then we say, it's natural. It's normal. Nothing's haunting your house. He didn't take it that we were helping him. He took it that we were mocking him.
Right.
And so he was very offended. And so they asked us to leave, and so we did. And so everybody left and everything. 3 days later, the founder of that other team calls me, and he says that client called back and apologized to him and asked him to please get in touch with me and apologize to me as well. That his, I believe, brother-in-law was an electrician. So just in case, he called him over and told him what these crazy paranormal guys told him. And he went down in the basement and he said, had you not called me when you did, I give it 48 hours and this house would be on the ground.
Wow.
He said everything in this basement was wired wrong.
Right.
Large amounts of electromagnetic fields can affect us.
Right.
It's the reason a compass works. It's how a bird flies south in the wintertime. It's controls. We give off EMFs. Mm-hmm. Some people more so than others. But large amounts of that can actually weaponize and become very hazardous. It can give us tummy aches, headaches, nausea, vomiting, fainting, hallucinations.
Right. Funhouse effect.
And say again?
Funhouse effect.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so
Vertigo.
that was a situation where we were called crazy and said, hey, you're saying I'm lying, get out of my house. But then later on he had to call back and say, I'm sorry, you're absolutely right, and you saved my house.
Yeah, there was an issue, right? Exactly.
Yeah. So,
and that's what I said that sets us apart from other teams. We make sure we use equipment like that is actually useful outside of just a paranormal setting, if you would like to call it like that. Like a spirit box. That's not really going to help us out at all to find out if something natural is going on in the house.
every time you
Whereas
mention
that K2
spirit box,
EMF
Beth
would.
gets this look on her face.
I'm
bad.
good.
We're good. We're good.
Beth really wants to use one, right?
She
I
really
do.
does.
I
She
really
does.
do.
Yeah,
I
but
want
we have a different
I
controlled
want to
environment.
do the test.
Yeah,
the
a test.
spirit body
Yeah,
test.
not like
You're
it's
talking about with the headphones and all
That's
that.
just
Yeah.
not like
Yes.
anything you've seen, done.
Well, that's
so
how they
far.
do it now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I've seen
Everyone's
two
doing it.
teams do it. I didn't know everybody.
Yeah, that's
did
the
it now.
new normal now.
It's new
Okay,
norm. Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I think that leaves a lot less room for the other.
And
You know,
I don't. I think
we
it- I
can't
think it
use
exemplifies
as
it.
evidence, but it may give us an avenue to investigate.
Explore that
Right.
area.
Sure.
Look at more.
Sure.
Right.
Well, I mean, I think it's good to try anything. Definitely in this scientific field. I mean, we could sit here and argue back and forth, say no, it works because of this, it doesn't work because of this, or it makes it better. But I think the one thing that's always been good with CAPI is, I mean, we're willing to give it a try
Sure.
at least,
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
and get our own personal
Absolutely.
experience from it.
Right.
Well, it's like the little cat toys. No one would have ever thought of that until we gave it a shot, and it turned out that it actually works.
Right.
We
It
actually got
does.
some
Right.
good stuff out of it.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
And that was
Hey,
just
Beth.
from a
Hey.
test.
Yes.
Beth, will you look at Dad for me? Because I'm not there. I'm gonna tell me his face when I say we should use an Ouija board.
There was a grimace.
That was a very,
Very pronounced.
very pronounced grimace.
That was a grimace.
What sets CAPI apart from other teams? That is the epitome of it. A Ouija board.
A Ouija board, right?
That sets us apart. So.
You and I have gotten into this before, Dad, about the use of an Ouija board, where I was on the side of I think that it could be used, and I think that it's a relevant tool, and you have your opinion on it, and so.
Yeah, I think it's extremely irrelevant. I think it made Milton Bradley millions, but that's the only power that it has.
I actually watched it. There was a movie. I don't know if y'all watched old television, but I like old B movies. Mm-hmm. There was a movie on the other night that was done way back in the 1950s, and they had kind of a Ouija board, but it wasn't the actual game.
Right.
They had it set up on a table, and it was a bunch of numbers and a yes and no and a wine glass that would,
a talking board.
Yeah, get a little.
Yeah, talking board.
Generalized term.
I'd never seen that before, and I thought that's pretty wild. That was kind of like the precursor to the Ouija board, I guess.
Right. Oh, yeah. Right. Well, there's a difference. There's a Ouija board is a brand name.
Yeah.
Ouija is a brand name from a toy company, but talking board is what gave the basis to the idea.
Yeah, and I think that's what this was. It was trying to. It was set in a different period. The movie was, and I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
I think they were onto something. I think anything can be used as a way to communicate, right? But it's more or less like how effective is that way or that tool or instrument or whatever that you're being used, and how easily can it be debunked?
Right.
Right.
Well, it's the willingness to communicate to begin with that
opening.
You're
giving that opening.
Yeah, giving the opening. I agree.
Just remember to always say goodbye.
Yeah. And don't you dare throw it away.
Don't burn it because it'll appear unburned back where you.
But it's like I've always said when it comes, and that's another thing that sets CAPI apart. And this kind of goes into both topics tonight. What sets us apart and what does and doesn't work. That we are open to that. Because I do not want a spirit box. But what did I say when you said you wanted one?
You said that we would try it.
There you go.
Yes.
Exactly. I'm always open to anything. If there's anything I've learned in 42 years of doing this is be open, be ready, and don't think you've seen it all. Because as soon as you think that, you're going to get slapped. It's like the old saying, you make your plans and hear God laughing.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. We can be arrogant as much as we want.
Right.
Yeah, we can be arrogant all we want and think we know it all. And I tell people, even in the class that we do, because we do a paranormal class, even in that class, I tell people, I say, once you think you know it all, then you're in trouble because you got a whole different chapter coming. I promise you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to know it all about the paranormal because then it becomes mundane.
Right.
Don't you think? If you know everything about it, why would you want to do it anymore?
Yeah, no, I enjoy learning.
I think I would move on. Okay, now it's time to collect stamps.
Exactly.
That's what
I've learned everything I can about the paranormal.
That's what I've always said about the job that I do, the profession that I'm in outside of that. The day that I learn all of that, the day that I know it all, it's time for me to quit that and go to something else.
Something else. Yeah. Why would you stay there?
So I don't want to find the end of this one. I want to keep learning and keep growing.
Yes, absolutely. That's something I love about the paranormal. It's sustained me for 42 years, and I hope it sustains me for another 20 years,
90.
30. I don't know.
90.
I don't want to.
It's like no matter how arrogant we get, or no matter how, like in my experience with Dad, he's always talking me up about how I always go into the creepiest, darkest places or whatever, where other people don't want to go unless they're spiders. That's always unless they're spiders.
Dolls.
I feel that's important.
Or dolls.
Or dolls. Yeah. Well, that's because of Vaughn Hospital, right? That
right.
The paranormal also scarred me forever. But
What's wrong,
I mean,
Corey?
I was. Yeah, you're very funny. I was always. I gotten to the point where I was always like, I don't care. I'll go in there alone, and we try to do the buddy system, and I was just like, well, I kind of want to go into these places by myself and just.
Well, sometimes it's necessary.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's necessary to be by
remember,
yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
With things throwing you a curveball and having that arrogance kind of knocked out of you every once in a while is that we can't really say, but that the building that we investigated in Selma, one of the historical buildings, the basement, that happened with me, and I had to leave. I couldn't stay anymore because it got so bad.
Yeah. Speaking of, you said that earlier about spiders. It can be a clean room basement. and Tom doesn't do basements.
Tom does.
Tom
do
does
that.
not
And Johnny
do
knows this.
He
so
feels about
tries to-
basements like you do about spiders.
Exactly.
Don't do basements. Huh?
We were at one place one night, and he was saying, okay, this is how I want to do it, and this is where I want this person and this person and this person. He was the team lead that night. And he's like, Tom, you're in the basement. And before he could finish that sentence, I was like, I quit.
What was it, a horror movie or something? That's
Yeah,
Oh, it was a-
What's
just a
damaged
basement.
you, baby? What is it that makes you not want to be in a basement?
There's just something about a basement that's creepy. I don't know what it is. It's not,
I
it
think
doesn't
we
have to
should
be
get into this, Tom.
a bug or water or
I really think
whatever
we
it
need
is.
to
It's just
take
creepy.
care of this.
I don't know.
Just lay on the couch there.
yeah, exactly.
We
Get
can-
back in the chair there. Yeah.
Let's cure his basement fear while
That's
we cure my
right.
spider.
That's
I
right.
just don't
Let's-
care
let's
for
do that.
basements. That's all. And at this particular place, man, there was a ton of activity that night in that basement.
Oh,
my
my
God.
gosh.
It was orb
It
activity
was.
everywhere, and I'm like, yeah, see, I'm up here, and y'all are
Yes.
down there in the basement. Enjoy yourself.
Right, right.
I love that. This is the one that had like the old bunker around the side of the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, not Tom. Not happening.
No.
Got that EVP of that crashing noise and the kid laughing.
Yeah,
Yes.
see, now that would have put me out. The kid laughing. I'm going to be up there with Tom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come on,
Me and
Corey. I
Tom
got
are
a
gonna
seat
be
right
together.
here. Sit down right here
Together.
next to us. I got a seat right here.
Gonna be
Exactly.
Holding hands, singing Kumbaya, and letting you guys investigate.
Exactly.
That's the one that I stayed in the bathroom, in the
Yes.
shower.
The shower.
Whole
Yeah,
time.
sat in the shower.
I got touched.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I was just.
You ended up staying in there.
That
We
was
sat in
the
the shower.
greatest
Like
thing.
8 of us could have sat in that shower.
Oh yeah, it was a
Yeah,
massive,
it was
huge.
That
massive
was a
house.
huge
Yeah.
A
shower.
little girl laughing, I would have been curled up in that shower.
That was
Right,
that was
right,
EVP.
right,
you
right,
wouldn't have
right.
heard it live. So
Yeah, it was later
you wouldn't
on.
have
You
an
picked it up later
excuse,
on, yeah.
Corey.
Another thing that sets us apart, keeping this train going, is our use of evidence. When we gather evidence from an investigation, that evidence becomes the sole property of
The client.
the client.
Exactly.
Exactly. Why would it not?
Exactly.
Why
would you do
not
anything with
give
it?
that? Because that's like us going to someone's house and saying, "Oh, that's a beautiful vase. I think I'll take that home with me."
Exactly.
We're stealing from that client, right?
Right.
Here,
And
would
we're
you like
stealing
your
their
ghost back?
experience as well. The reason they called us in, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
90% of the time they're calling us in to debunk their craziness.
Right.
So that they can go to mom and dad or aunt and uncle or neighbor or husband or wife even and say, "See, I'm not crazy. I know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
This really is happening."
Right.
So why would we steal that from them? You know, that becomes their property.
That's theirs.
We do ask the good stuff if we can hang on to it, you know, for research and education.
Right.
Right. But that we're not there to take their experiences from them. We're there to show them their experiences.
And I think because we do it that way, I think you run into clients that you go, "Hey, this is really, really good. Do you mind if we hang on to a copy of this?" I think the reason they're more willing to do that is because we tell them up front that it's theirs. It's that we're not going to do anything with it. It belongs to them. So I don't think there's any reluctance on their part to let us keep a piece of it because of that. You know?
Right.
Yeah, as far as I know, no client has said, "No, you can't have that."
Not with us. Has they? Have they with you?
so.
Oh yeah. There's been cases where
There
we were asked
has
not to
been.
keep anything.
And the
Absolutely.
time we've been in it, we haven't run across.
But there's
it.
also been cases where clients have said, "Keep everything. I don't want to hear it.
Right.
Get it out
Yeah,
of my house."
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also times where you do an investigation and you tell them it's not haunted, but they want it to be haunted so bad that, you know, they ask you to make up evidence, which
Corey.
we would never do.
Corey.
Yeah.
She's right here.
Oh yeah, I know. That's the one that was sticking out in my mind. I just didn't want to say it, but you know, I do want to say real quick that there's also, because I feel like I'm playing this side of it tonight for some reason. It's just the role I've put myself in, and the non-paranormal side. Is that sometimes giving people evidence is a good way for them to calm someone down. That maybe you have a roommate or a
Amen.
child or something. You can use that evidence to show them or recreate what's been happening for them, and then show them that it's not paranormal at all. It's just a door or a squeaky floorboard or
Exactly,
something like
yeah.
that. You have the evidence to back that up.
Or a
Right.
mister that's going next to the camera and
Yeah.
making
Oh,
crazy.
goodness.
Looks like a
Yeah.
nice misty ghost going down the hallway.
That was the most beautiful evidence.
Yeah, it was
It really was. It
Until
really
it
was.
got debunked.
Yep.
The
That was
best
fun.
evidence that CAPI has ever gotten since the beginning, this was really early on too, was the little girl that was floating 3 floors
Oh
up
my
off the ground.
God.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That That was crazy.
Can I
And
tell
then
that
Dad
story?
ruined it.
Yeah, that was before
Dad
our
ruined
time.
it for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, can I tell that story?
Please.
I tommed that night. We
Tommed.
we coined phrase that act now. It's called tomming.
Yeah, it was
That's what you're
Tom.
doing. What'd you do? Oh yeah, Johnny tommed that one.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, what he's speaking of is we was at the old Vaughn Hospital, and this is whenever you can go on our social media and meet the lady in red. She's on our social media. I think she's on our website too, isn't she?
No.
No, we need
The
to get her on
original,
there.
the original Central Alabama Paranormal.
Yeah, the original CAPI. Right. And
I
that's
have her though.
that night when we got that and everything. But we were in a room on the third floor, just snapping shots, and thankfully we did that
Well,
because
no, we were snapping shots for a reason. At that point we were snapping shots like crazy because we.
yeah,
heard
I meant
the lady
before
in
we
red.
got to that door though, we were taking
Okay,
pictures.
gotcha. Yeah.
But as we got there was a growl,
Awesome.
an audible growl, not an EVP, but what we could hear.
Yeah.
No,
while we were
everybody
there.
heard it.
Yeah, audibly, like we heard it just as well as we heard each other talking, and so that brought us to that room and started taking pictures after picture after picture after picture because we were excited, because a real paranormal investigator doesn't go, dude, run.
Right.
We chase it up the stairs.
Run, Zach, run!
So, yeah, we went in there and we started just snapping shots after shots. Now, mind you, we're on the third floor. We had a picture developed that was clearly a 7 to 10-year-old little girl in a dress looking at us from outside the window.
Oh yeah, and that alongside the
On the third
EVP that we
floor.
had gotten, we thought, man,
Yeah.
that piece of evidence was amazing.
Yeah, because we'd gotten turn your earphones off, Corey. Earlier
yeah,
we'd
I
got
know
he
this
hates
feeling.
hearing it, but earlier we had gotten because Corey had to leave at one point, and we got an EVP that says, "Where's Corey?"
Oh man.
And it
wow.
sounded
And a
just
little
like a little
girl's
girl
voice.
saying, "Where's Corey?"
Oh my god.
Oh man.
And there's nothing more either heart touching or spine cringing
At the same time.
than to hear your voice on an EVP or your name.
Your name.
Your
Your
name.
name on not your voice, but to hear a disembodied voice say your name.
Right.
Wow.
That even gets me. That'll give me chill bumps, big time.
Exactly.
And so does hey. So
Stop it.
Yeah. so
So because we got that little girl's voice, and now we see her floating in the window.
yes, we had a
Or outside
picture
the
of her
window.
too. So it was perfect.
Wow.
And so, how long did that go on, Corey? A while.
Oh, a long while. I want to say a few months at least.
At
it
least
went
a
on
few
for
months.
while.
Yeah, at least a few months. But I was at the hospital by myself. Sorry, John. I was investigating by myself. I
That's
know.
a no-no.
Do as I say, not as I do. But
Bad.
sometimes I get a little arrogant.
And what happens
But,
when Johnny gets arrogant?
He falls and almost breaks his leg.
He gets hurt.
Yeah,
That's
or gets
hurt.
pushed down an elevator shaft.
Nearly.
Falls up the stairs, breaks his ankle in the cemetery, whatever.
Wow.
But I was in there and trying to recreate, what we were doing and everything, and unfortunately, I was able to recreate that picture because there was a stack of boxes. This was no longer in use. This
Right.
building was longer in use, so a lot of the rooms were used as storage. There was a stack of boxes in there and a shipping label on one of those boxes. Whenever it was taking a picture, it was facing the window in front of us, between us and the window, where the box was sitting. The shipping label on the box was facing the window. So
Right.
whenever we took the picture and the flash hits, the
You got the
reflection of that
reflection.
shipping
The
label
reflection, right.
looked just like a little
A
girl
little girl floating.
floating outside the third floor
Wow.
window.
Wow.
So yeah,
It
I
was
tommed that one.
so
That was good.
disappointing.
That was awesome.
Oh,
That's
oh, that-
disappointing.
Had to
yeah,
debunk it.
that one was a rough. That was a rough pill to swallow.
Yeah,
Right.
that
It
sucked
really
the wind
was.
right out of you. I agree.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can, yeah.
Yeah. She was going to say we can concur to
We
that.
can.
Yeah.
We can.
Because we had a mist that was just amazing, and
It
it even
was.
followed a pattern
It did.
and everything. And then Tom figured out that it was a misting machine.
Yeah, like a air freshener.
Yeah,
I
air
think
freshener right next to us.
The guy had like 4 of them in his house.
I think it was a humidifier.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, like
that
little,
was it.
it shoots
Sure
a little
That would
mist and
shoot,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah,
Shoots a- yeah.
yeah.
But there were
But I
like
think
4 of
that's-
them in the house, and then,
Right.
That's one of the biggest things like that I feel like a good paranormal team should have is the ability to admit that, this evidence isn't usable, even if it's a long
Exactly.
time after. If we find a piece of evidence months later that we told a client that, we have no way of explaining this, but then one day we have an epiphany or like, oh my God, this probably explains that. Can we come back and test this? Or can we or we're able to just debunk it on our own without having to go back to the residents. We can go back and tell them like, hey, so turns out that evidence that we gave you probably is not what we said it was. It's most definitely just this naturally occurring thing that we figured out.
Well, see, that's kind of like, that's what kind of sets it apart for me. What sets CAPI apart from everybody else is integrity, and all that goes toward integrity.
Exactly.
You've got to maintain that, because it's in this business, it's really all you have. If you lose that, you're done.
You lose everything.
You're done. So you've got to be willing to go back and do that, and even if it hurts, you've got to
and
be
it does
willing
hurt.
to go back. It does, yeah.
It does hurt.
Yeah.
And you get
it
excited
does.
about that evidence, and you're just like, there's no way you can debunk this. This is
Right.
just perfect. There's no way that's not a little girl.
Exactly.
There's no way that's not a ghost smith going down that hallway. There's no way it's not. And then when you find out it is, like Corey said, that is a tough pill to swallow.
It is.
It
Do
really
you remember
is.
the bedroom and
Yeah.
the K2 over the bed?
Yes.
Oh, that one was great.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes, we
about
were
this one.
super. Yeah, I don't think you were on that one. This is one that we did in Northeast Alabama, I believe, Northwest Alabama.
I think you're right.
Yeah, yeah, and there was a bedroom that had that they had activity in.
They did.
There was reports of
The
activity.
dog.
Right,
Exactly.
right. And there was a doll, a stuffed animal of some sort, on the
On the
bed,
bed.
and we put the K2 meter on the bed, and we're hitting it like 10, 15 milliglosses.
Yes, we are.
And there's nothing
wow.
electronic.
Nothing.
Nothing
we were around this
electronic.
whole room.
As a matter of fact, that room had no power going to it.
Exactly.
Couldn't
There
even
was
turn the light
no
on in
way.
there.
Yeah. There was no way you were getting 20 milliglosses on an EMF detector in there.
Oh,
Not
I would have
possible.
been freaking out.
Oh,
taking
we were.
pictures.
Oh, it was
awesome.
Like,
It was
I would've
We
been
were
awesome.
dancing
crazy.
around. We were happy.
Yeah.
And then we found out
Yes.
What was
It
it?
was a
on the
motor.
other side of a 3-foot wall, 3 foot or probably a 2-foot thick wall. It's a
Yeah.
huge support wall for this house. Was a router,
Yeah, to the internet.
and that thing was so
no.
strong.
Oh, and it was knocking
that
it
it
out
was
too.
it was just almost making that
He had really
EMF
good
meter
internet
vibrate.
service.
Man, it was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, did you guys get the name of that router in the internet service by chance?
I don't
I know, right?
He
I
was-
know.
Yeah,
I
but he
think
was pulling it down. buddy.
satellite, wasn't it? Because we were no, it wasn't.
No, it was
that
regular
far out.
internet. I just don't
No.
remember who it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
No.
Man's living the streaming dream.
Yeah,
over
exactly.
there.
Right,
That's
that thing was
true.
crazy powerful.
Yeah,
it really
it
was.
was.
So much so that I told him that he probably needed to get someone to come in and look at
Get
it.
it checked.
Right.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was saying
Right.
either it's
Down.
supposed to be like this and you got kick butt internet, or
You just
Something
you've
wrong,
got an
right.
issue.
Wi-Fi.
Right.
something's not quite right. Exactly.
Yeah,
I
because
mean-
that thing was kicking, man. And me and Beth, oh my God.
so excited.
And I think it was because it was just me and Beth that was so excited about it because we were the ones in there
Yes.
Yeah.
when it was doing this. And
Yes.
it was just like freaking us out.
Yeah,
you
it was
know?
just the three of us on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
just the three of
Exactly.
us,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so we were just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
But I think I can tell this without telling any names. But the client was so funny because he's like, I'd already decided if it was that bad, it was gone tonight.
Yep.
He said, I'm already trying to figure out who to call to come get this thing.
Yep.
And then you guys hit on that bed. So
Right. Exactly.
Well, it was an old brass bed. It was an old, an
Oh,
antique
super old.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
bed to start with. And so this
mid
guy was like,
1800s.
he was already trying to think of what family member he could come drag it out of the
right.
house
Right.
tonight.
I said, how are you going to get it out of here tonight? And he said, it's either going out or I'm burning it.
That's
One
right.
or two.
Chainsaw,
Didn't
it's
care, it was
leaving.
going out.
Yeah.
When in doubt, kill it with fire.
Exactly.
was hilarious.
That's great. You could just the stark contrast of the different people that we run into. That one guy's like, if it's the bed, I'm burning it. It's out of here. Other
Right.
people are like,
Right.
oh man, I hope it's haunted. I hope we have so
Exactly.
many ghosts here."
Exactly.
Exactly, Corey.
Can I pass you
It's a
couple
ghost.
bills?
Yeah,
you just say that's haunted.
we have
Come on, man.
very
We've been
early on
offered
in,
so much money.
yeah, very early on in Cappy's life, we ran into a lot of that. I won't mention any names or any locations, but there was a ton. People wanting to turn their houses into a bread and breakfast or something to do with because a lot of these places like downtown Selma, downtown Wetumpka, these old houses, the notoriety that you can get from
Oh, it's a draw.
Yeah.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Big time.
houses.
flock to that. You get on these history tours and stuff like that. So yeah, Cappy has been
Yeah. Look at
has been
Savannah.
tried to
I mean, look at
convince quite a few
Savannah for
times.
the
Oh, my
ghost.
gosh.
The
Yeah.
ghost stuff is
Yes.
an economy all its own in
Right,
Savannah.
right.
The houses in
Here.
Selma, most of them, if they're not haunted, they got some dumb ghosts because I mean they need to be.
They need to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're gorgeous.
if
Yeah.
I'm a ghost and I'm looking for a place to haunt, it's like
Over in Old Town,
Right
there's
there.
some houses that, if there's no ghost in there, you're right. The ghosts are like dumb. Because this would be a perfect ghost house. Why are you not living
Why
here?
are you not here? Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Sturtevant Hall, that's we labeled that as haunted, didn't we?
We did. We definitely
Yeah.
labeled Servant Hall
So
as
long, I
haunted.
remember.
Yeah, I've
That
read a
was
lot
so
about that
sad.
in my research.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
the tornado damage there.
I spent many a nights in that place. And it was just, that was
Tornado got it.
It had some
not bad.
damage.
It's still
Not
there.
too bad.
But
It's got
still.
some
Good,
damage, but not too
good.
bad. Yeah.
Thankfully,
the
that would've
castle
been
got more
bad.
damage than Sturtevant did.
If Sturtevant had gotten destroyed by the tornado, I would have been bawling my
That would
eyes
be
out.
sad.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
not gonna lie
broken
to you.
arm.
Days after that tornado, I made it a point to come to Selma and just walk around and look. And I rode around Old Town, and I did. I cried. I think I told the team. I said I'm just in tears.
I mean,
It was
well,
just-
you got to understand, like, that's where, I mean, that's our stomping ground. Selma, it's nice that Cappy's going back to Selma. That's where we started. And
Exactly.
we, Cahaba, Old Live Oak, like all those places. I mean, we have family members buried at Old Live Oak. We've done investigations there, but it's not just about the haunted, it's the beauty in Selma that's
Yes,
still
it
here
is.
today.
Of course. Yeah.
Yes, it
Absolutely.
is.
Absolutely.
Old Town, and just the
Absolutely.
fact that there's so much energy in Selma and so many of these places are truly haunted or at least have some activity going on. It's it's just a icing on the cake.
Right.
So
Right.
it's hearing Selma got hit by the tornado. That was a scary moment for Cappy
Yeah,
and
it
for
was.
everybody, of course. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's just too much history here to waste it and not celebrate it. And that's one of the things that I've said since we started this is that it's so fitting that we're back here, and after leaving and then we're coming back, and it's just so fitting that this show is here, and especially since how we were talking about doing the show in 4 different cities. We'd talked about a Tuscaloosa
Yep.
venue, Birmingham, Montgomery, and then Selma.
Yeah.
no,
And I
Selma's
think
the perfect spot.
Yeah, everything worked out just perfect for it to be Selma.
Yeah.
And even when I didn't think it was going to be, I really thought I think John and I both were pretty set on Birmingham. I think I said when we start a show, it's going to be Birmingham. The opportunity is more so in Birmingham than anywhere else, and everything just fell apart for everything else, but everything fell into place for Selma.
Right.
Everything
I'm
happens
sorry, I
for a
don't think
reason.
that was
I think it's a good move.
anything to do with me either. I don't think it was anything
Correct.
to do with the work that we've been doing. I think it just that was the fate. That was
Yeah.
what was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
It was what was slated. Exactly.
Right.
and we love
And that's-
Selma so much.
That's
So
one.
much.
That's
It is
just
beautiful.
the last thing to
It
because
is.
we've been on the segment about what sets Cappy apart. History, the amount of love and respect that we give to the history in a lot of these places that we go to.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I feel like a lot of teams will just hear this place is haunted, like, oh, let's go. We want to know as much about the haunting as we can, but don't care about the history and the respect for these places.
Exactly.
Which Cahaba can speak to that. I don't want to speak for them, but we know firsthand how much people can just completely disrespect the history of a place and not care about it at all. So
Yeah, we really do. There's been so much damage and vandalism, and
we kicked
We were-
someone off the team for vandalizing. Remember that?
yeah, the dummy was in front of me and admitted to it right there, and he's just an idiot. But,
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
and
Time to go to jail.
They
That's crazy.
dug under the slave quarters at Cahaba.
So they were
They
trespassing.
couldn't get in. Yes,
Not
big
the
time.
person that we kicked off the
No,
team.
no.
He
This
knocked
was
over
another.
tombstones.
Unfortunately, we didn't catch these people, but they couldn't get in through any of the windows or the doors because they had them all sealed. So what these rocket scientists did was they crawled under the house and broke the flooring out under the staircase, so the staircase fell.
Oh wow.
Unfortunately, it didn't fall on them.
It did.
Right.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I probably shouldn't have said it on the radio. I might get some flack for that,
Well,
but I don't care.
we don't want it to
I don't even want to die. We don't
just
want to
wanna-
make ghosts. We
wanna-
want to show them.
Just maybe pin them down until
Yeah, until the
somebody
cops
got
get there.
Yeah, just hold them there
So
until we
the
got
appropriate
there. Yeah.
authorities.
I mean, they leave with a severe
Show.
limp. That's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
minor internal
hold 'em-
bleeding coming.
Hold
Right,
them there
exactly.
until the head out there, the maintenance guy got there and just could have escorted them off
Exactly.
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 in
This mortal
handcuffs
coil.
and blue lights.
Hopping on that one bad leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's something. Another thing that CAPI is very passionate about is the preservation of history, and especially now in I don't. What do they call it? What's that new thing? Cancel culture.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not going to go into that politically or
let's
anything.
not.
I'm just saying that's
not
what.
politically.
To me, I don't care if it's good history or bad history or whatever. It's still your history. And if it is bad history, it needs to be remembered more so than the good history because you don't want to repeat it.
Right,
You
exactly.
don't want to keep doing that same thing. So you got to learn from your mistakes and keep going. So, yeah, canceling any type of history or not just canceling, but not recognizing.
Forgetting.
Yeah, just to disregard it for what you're doing is just a bad idea.
That breaks my heart because at least if you're canceling something, you think you have a cause.
Exactly.
You know, in your heart, you're doing it heartfelt. But if you're just forgetting it, that's just wrong.
It is.
I mean,
in my mind, if you're
understand.
going to teach people about life, you got to teach them about all of it.
exactly
The good and the bad, and that's how you move forward.
Well, the good's not good without the bad.
exactly
Right.
You know,
There's no
It's in
good without
contrast.
bad.
the good becomes melancholy
Right.
without the bad.
Exactly.
So
Yes,
we
I'm right.
want the we don't enjoy the bad, but we've got to have it.
Yeah, you
There
need to
has
see the
to
whole
be a
picture.
balance
Yeah, exactly.
to appreciate.
I
You
mean,
got to see the whole
every-
picture
every-
for balance. I agree.
Every haunted tour that we've ever done, we always make sure to call. It's not, CAPI's haunted tour or Wetumpka haunted tour or Cahaba haunted tour. It's always Cahaba, haunted history. It's always, we throw the history in there.
Exactly.
Right.
So I feel that's very, very important. And it's not just important to just remember the history, but it's important to know the history of the location as far back as you can go for the paranormal. If you're a paranormal team, that one of the main things that you should focus on is the history of the location.
That's right.
Yeah, I won't say any names, but we did one here in Central Alabama where we found out later. This has just been recently, if you remember. We found out later that there was a cemetery that had been moved, and it was in Alabaster.
Oh yeah.
And we actually met it. We met someone on
Right.
another team that came in to consult, and they actually used to live there.
Yes.
And they informed us about the cemetery that we didn't know had been moved.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I remember.
you can't say the name of it.
No.
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 No, I don't think we have permission to talk. It was
Yeah,
private.
it
It
was
was
private.
It was a residence.
Yeah,
It was
a
resident. It was
yeah.
private.
Well, somebody's going to have to privately tell me about this.
Yeah,
We'll tell
probably
you about it.
We'll bring you up to
Absolutely.
speed.
We'll bring you up on that one.
Now that you're
That's awesome.
in the team
But
chat
that's
again.
such a cool story. Like that's awesome.
It was
Find out
pretty.
later that
It was
those
pretty
things are
eye
there.
opening for us too, because I don't think any of us even considered that.
No.
I heard there's a lot of places, definitely in Dallas County, just in Alabama, the South. I mean, I'm sure all over, but I mean, this is where we're from, so we hear about it all the time. But definitely, like places out in like Burnsville, any of the place where the Civil War was just, had these big battles. You could pick up a rock and throw it and probably that was probably a graveyard at some point.
Oh,
there.
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
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 That's why I asked
Definitely
you that
places like
question
Old
last
Cahaba.
week.
Yeah.
That's why I asked you that question last week about the correlation between civil wars and
Right.
battles and stuff. That's why I asked you that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
You know what?
that energy is there. And, speaking of the cemeteries, people ask me all the time, have you done so-and-so cemetery? And I'm like, well, cemeteries aren't usually haunted. Why would an entity want to hang around their grave, and look at that?
Yeah,
But in that case, whenever we were at a cemetery, we can say that. We was at Old Live Oak.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
And I've told the team for years, cemeteries, it's kind of a waste of time. Nobody's going to hang around their grave.
Right.
Right.
I would hang around Old Live Oak. It's just that.
Well, that's
beautiful.
the difference
So
between that
beautiful.
cemetery and other places. There's so much other stuff that's happened
Right.
there.
Yeah,
other
exactly.
than it just being a cemetery.
Right.
And the infamous history that marks there, and and some of the people that are there,
Right.
and the historical significance there.
Right.
And I think just for the Spanish Moss alone,
Oh man.
Oh, it's
Yeah, it's
I
a
would
really
want to
cool
be there.
place.
Yeah, it's just
It's a really cool looking
And the
place.
angel.
Oh, and at night, and that angel.
Yeah, the angel.
Oh, I would
nice.
love to see that
Yes,
place at
yes,
night.
yes.
We need to get permission though.
Well, you can go through there at the Old Live Oak. You can't go to the new Live Oak. at
Oh,
night,
okay.
But you can go through the Old Live Oak at night.
Oh,
you just can't
okay.
go into the cemetery, but you can go through there.
That's the part I was asking about, the through road.
Yeah,
that a through
yeah. I
road?
think it's kind of disrespectful.
It is.
I've always thought that was kind of
I think
strange.
so.
Yeah.
But I mean,
That's what
Well,
that's what they're
speaking
used
of
to.
they
places
So.
did.
Yeah.
Back
Speaking of
then,
places that are
I'm
beautiful and like Spanish moss and things like that, we were supposed to talk about places that we want to go and investigate in Alabama, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's true.
You know what? Thinking about how beautiful the Spanish moss is and all that stuff like that. You know what it makes me think of?
What, Johnny?
Would
an
it be
extremely good hairdo.
Getting a wig?
Yeah.
Or something?
Yeah, like not even a wig, but just a beautiful hairdo.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all don't know this about me, but sometimes I think about getting a perm.
Do you really?
Really?
I really do.
Yeah.
I never would have guessed it.
Never.
Yeah, I do. I think about doing that. I think about getting a perm and rocking the 70s look. I'm thinking about that.
Staying
and if I
alive.
do that, the only place I can think about to go is Michelle's Salon.
I agree.
It's got to be the place we go to. It's Michelle's Salon there at Montgomery at 6754 Taylor Circle, Montgomery, Alabama. I've got to remember that address so I can
Yes.
stop thinking about it. But 6754 Taylor Circle, Montgomery, Alabama. You can call them and set up an appointment today at 334-306-0670, 334-306-0670.
Awesome.
Call them up, set it up. I promise you, you will not regret it. We again thank them for sponsoring the show tonight. and
Absolutely.
Thank
look
you,
forward
Michelle.
to. Thank you, Michelle.
How many zeros were in that phone number again?
I don't know. I didn't count them. I'll say it again. Y'all count. You ready?
No.
Here's the phone number: 334-306-0670.
5.
7.
I got
9.
3.
22.
20.
Hike.
Wait.
We're good at this. We're real good at this.
We're really good at this. We are
Listen, we
professional
said-
investigators, Jack.
We said we're
We're
good at history,
investigators.
not
Hey,
math.
nobody told
Hey,
me I
no
had
one
to
said
count.
we had to do math.
There.
Tom says nobody told me I had to count.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, no. We said no history. You need
He says
to know
I
your
passed the
history.
class. Nobody said
Don't worry
anything
about
about counting.
That's
and
right.
math.
I don't remember anything about counting in the classes. No, sorry.
You know, I wonder if Michelle, you were talking about getting a really nice hairstyle done. I wouldn't, and you dream about having that done. I thought maybe you dream about getting like the top of your head really polished and then being like a crossing guard or something at night.
Hold on. There's a mute button that I can hit
Okay, there.
for the Zoom people. I can hit that mute button.
Exactly.
That's fair. That's fair.
Ooh. Evil.
You know, hey, that's something else that sticks us apart as a team too. We definitely keep ourselves occupied during these investigations.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing is, I mean, I think we touched on it, I think last week, you know, you have to have fun with what you do.
Right.
I mean, especially if you're dealing with such a serious subject matter. I mean, sometimes it's either laugh or cry, and you got.
Right, exactly.
And if you're not laughing, I mean, you know, what's the point? I mean, sometimes
There's been investigations where I'm sitting down in Tom, close your ears. I'm sitting down in a basement for, you know,
By yourself. Yeah.
completely by myself for, you know, hour and a half, 2 hours there. I mean, there's been places in Wetumpka where I went and investigated just completely by myself in this brick room, literally with no carpet, no, it's just gravel, just sitting there asking questions, talking to myself in the dark. You know how easy it is to go mad and something like that. You have to have humor or something to keep it going. Like
Right.
coming to take
you
us
say
away.
something
Ha,
into
ha.
the recorder to crack you up or crack whoever's going to be listening to it later up. Like there's plenty
Right.
that we have to do.
Yeah, there's
Polar
been-
Bear was here. He had me
Oh my gosh.
crack up
Let's see here.
listening to an
Dang it.
EVP session
Yeah.
one
Yeah,
time.
when we were
He
doing
is
evidence
so
review.
funny.
Well, I mean, they like I said, sometimes you've got to crack a joke and knowing that someone is going to be listening to that
That's it.
later, but like, and I'm making
Yeah.
a fart joke or something like that.
Right.
I'm really curious about something. So Beth and Tom, you guys you're in studio today, right?
We did.
Yes. We came down and went through Old Live Oak and saw some history and got some history from your dad. And
Is this the first time y'all have been to Selma?
we've been to
Yes.
Selma
We've
as
been to
far as going
Selma,
through
right,
it, but
but-
not actually spend any real time.
We've
Yeah.
been through Selma.
We've been through Selma half a dozen times. We've just not spent any time.
Right.
And
Well, I'm
situations
super
work
curious.
today to where they couldn't get here in time to do a lot. But next time they come, we're going to go to a lot more places,
Yes.
Cahaba and
Yes.
some of Old Town. And
Yeah,
We'll
we had
have a
planned to
better
do that
plan.
today, but sometimes, tell God your plans.
That's
Right.
Well, did you? I'm curious. Did you guys see any, or did Dad tell you about any places that you guys really want to investigate?
We talked to a couple of places. There was a particular house or something that you were interested in. You mentioned it when we went into the cemetery. Said it wasn't far from there or something. I don't remember what it was now.
I don't even-
That's the house,
Yeah.
There's
the
so
White
many
House
of
that
them.
you
There's
fell
so
up the-
many in Selma that
Is
I
there
have
any
and
way
I
we
want
can do
to.
sort of an all again?
We can look into that. Absolutely.
That would
I
be
would
cool.
love
That
to
would
do
be
Yes.
that one.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we can
There's
look into that.
Yes.
a private home here. I can't think of the name of the family now that got real popular a few years ago. I'll have to look it up again. We ought to see about that one too.
Okay.
They everybody knows it. I just don't know the name of it. In other words,
Okay, guys, your homework for this week is to go find places in Selma that you want to investigate.
that'd be good.
Awesome.
That'd be awesome.
Do research and then submit your request.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
Submit
I
your
can do
request
that.
live. No,
That's a good plan.
I can do that.
I want to do St. James. I know Cappy's investigated there, but I was out of state whenever you guys did that, so I
Yeah.
would love
St.
to be able
James.
to do
Yeah.
That
St.
would be
James.
interesting.
St.
Yeah, I
James.
read
Blast
some
at
on
St.
that.
James.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be
we had a lot of
very,
fun
very
there.
interesting. There's something about Jesse James, 301, room 301.
Yeah, you spent a couple of days there.
Yeah, people
There's
see
so
him in a
much
chair
history
or
in
something. I
the
read
St.
that.
James.
Say again.
It's not. So there's just so much history there in the St. James
Oh
Hotel.
my gosh, yes.
A
Oh
ton.
yeah, that's something else.
It's right there close to where the crossing used to be at the foot of the bridge, and
Oh, wow.
which was a huge bar and restaurant. Big, nice, beautiful place.
I would
You know
like
what-
to investigate some residents.
That would be cool.
Absolutely.
It
That
would
we-
be
yeah,
great
absolutely.
if
I
That's got
wonder.
s-
I don't think that there is, but I wonder if there's. Dad, you might know, and I mean, I know a lot about this, but I don't know if there's any area in Selma that the underground tunnels are still accessible at all at any
Oh
point.
man.
You know, about 15 to 18 years ago, a lot of those tunnels started collapsing.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nothing to pick up the paper and see a car, the rear end of a car sticking out of the ground
Oh, no.
no.
where
That's
it
not
had been
good.
driving through and fell into one of the tunnels.
Wow.
Yeah.
And a lot of businesses closed those. So like a lot of the businesses had access under their like in the basement of the business. I was
Right.
there. I saw one business
How
close
cool
up
is
a hole.
that?
the basement.
Yeah, see, that rules me out.
Yeah, he's like, nope.
But it would be amazing to get. I mean, you can go to the museum. Dad, what's the name of that museum? The old train depot museum, I believe.
Old
You
Depot,
can-
yeah.
Oh
Isn't
yeah.
that where I forget his name and I feel awful for it, but he used to drag the river, but he would get into some of those tunnels and he brought out like coins and stuff and cannonballs
Right.
and things like that, and they're in
wow.
the
Yeah.
Right.
That's
the
awesome.
old depot museum.
That's
Right.
fascinating.
That's something I'd like to spend.
I have
some
a
time
rifle
down
there.
doing, seeing those.
You
That's
what?
my little claim to fame. I have a rifle at the old Depot Museum.
Oh, really?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I was coming through, actually not for paranormal. We were doing some field training with the Civil Air Patrol unit that used to be here in Selma. This was 200 years ago.
Right.
And I was coming through Valley Creek, and you know the old musket rifles. Whenever
Yeah.
raffles, what is that?
Raffle.
Yeah, the old raffles.
Musket
Yeah,
raffles.
the old
That
musket
was
rifles.
muskrats.
Whenever they got
that was
wet,
muskrats, not musket.
yeah, that's right. That's right. But whenever they became wet, soaked, they were all of a sudden paperweights.
Oh yeah,
You couldn't use them after
Right.
that.
Yeah.
The wood would swell, and
Yeah.
it would just junk. So if they dropped them in the water or something, they would just keep going.
Yeah, just
You know?
leave 'em.
There's no sense in carrying that 18-pound rifle anymore. Whenever I can't use it anymore,
Right.
you know, so they would just leave it. And I found the metal works of an old rifle that had been dropped there.
Oh,
I
no.
donated it to Old Depot there, and they have it in a case there.
That's
it's
awesome.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
But yeah, well, if y'all get here early, then we
Yeah.
can-
One
do
day.
that.
yeah,
We're gonna be
we'll
early
go-
one day, and everybody's just gonna be shocked.
Oklahoma.
Go do all that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, "What?"
That'd be great. We'll do that.
Old Cahaba is beautiful. You guys have got to get out to Old Cahaba.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, that is the next bucket list.
Yes.
Okay.
Got to get you guys to
Yes.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, awesome.
Go
Yeah,
out
I'd
to
like
the
to
old
do that.
cemetery
I wonder if they
and the
ever finished
potato
that
area.
church.
Love that.
The church that they were rebuilding. Did they get that finished?
They did. The last time I was out there, I went inside there, and it is just amazing.
They had did have the stained glass and all that put up?
Yes, it is
Oh
gorgeous.
man, I've got to get out there and see that.
Yeah, that church was originally at Cahaba, but was dismantled and moved. I don't remember where. I'll have to do some research. But a team of female construction students went and got this church and brought it back and rebuilt it back out at Cahaba. And now it's still
cool.
With
That's
as much
awesome.
as the
That's
original
awesome.
wood as they could.
right, with as
Right.
much as the original church as possible.
That's cool.
So that's really
That's,
cool.
That's fascinating.
Yes, and the slave quarters that turned into a house because the main house burned. See what you guys are missing?
I
Yeah,
know.
a lot of history here.
Yeah,
is.
yeah. So we definitely, we're going to make a point to go
Awesome.
next week.
Cool.
We'll go next week. So if you guys can make it
Going
next week,
baby?
Give it the best we can.
but
Best shot.
whenever y'all come, we'll go to Cahaba.
Awesome.
Absolutely, because
Yes.
Troy's right. You've got to experience Cahaba. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next Saturday night at 7 p.m. right here on Kicks Country 101.5. I want you to do me a huge favor sometime this week. I don't care if it's a friend, family member, or someone you meet on the street. Tell at least one person to smile, because that's exactly what we need the most of. God bless, and we'll see you next week. Good night.
This has been CAPI, the Real Paranormal Podcast, a presentation of Central Alabama Paranormal Investigations. Please tune in again for the next episode and download any previous episodes wherever you get your favorite podcast.